Welcome to Quick Tip 100, and in this quick tip what we're going to be doing is creating a simple form with a number up down control, and using that we're going to be moving this little trend line which has also been drawn on the chart by the program by simply clicking the up and down. So I'm clicking the down, and what it does, it moves it along and puts it at the low of the bar on the right. So if I continue, you'll see that it continues, and it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 bars in all over this little trend line, and could continue doing that. And each time the number goes down, the trend line will move. Sometimes this arrow is a little bit difficult to click, and what we can also do is just type in a number, so say 45, and it will move the line. And then we can move it back, move it anywhere we like using. And you'll notice there that while we were doing this, a new bar was added, and the program also takes that into account. So let's have a look at the program, which I've tried to keep as simple as possible. Essentially we have, well, first of all, look at the one statement. This is where we set up the form and we set up the numeric up down control, and it looks terribly complicated, but I'll just show you in a minute how actually easy it is to do that. That is where we have the changed event, and then we also draw the trend line in this area with 2 BN points, and then we create the trend line. And then what we do on the first tick of each bar is we change the value of the numeric up down maximum value. That's because we now have a new bar, we need to increase that, and we do that just using this dot maximum. And then what we also do, because we need to know when it's the first tick of the bar, we use this formula, so b stat l tick, which is a variable that I've created, and we set that as the value of bar status. So when we go through the program again, if that bar status is different from bar status 1, then we know it's the first tick of the bar. So let me just show you how you could go about creating the form and the numeric up down control. So what you would do if you want to create a new form is right click on the program, say add form, and now we have a blank form, and this is what we've got all the properties over here. So we could change it. For example, at the moment the back color is that sort of standard gray color. We could go to a sky blue color. We could change the fonts, the styles, the auto size, the etc., all the various things, and you can experiment with those. Now if we wanted to add the numeric up down, we can simply drag that onto the form, and again we can now move it around, so we can reposition it. Having done all that, we will find that in actual fact we have in the designer generated code, if I just go to view designer generated code, you'll see all the code that has been created for those objects. And what you can do is just copy the form 1 new, the settings for the form, settings for the numeric up down, and we can just copy that into the main program. And then having done that, because we don't need to double that form, what we can do is just go here in the resource view and right click and say remove form, because we don't need that any longer. And you'll see now that the designer generated code has disappeared. So that is essentially how we created those two controls. Now one thing that I changed when I typed it into my program, incidentally I copied it into a once last bar on chart statement, so this thing gets run once at the beginning, is I changed some of the things here where we had el system .windows .forms etc. What you can do if you use the load namespaces, for example, we could say, well, we don't really need to say all that syntax because we've already included the namespace, so we can tidy it up a little bit and just remove it and then just check that that's okay, and so on, and do that with other things where there's syntax that doesn't need to be there. But one thing that I did do is set the NumericUpDown.maximum to the init bar number, and the init bar number we get calculate just up here. It is equal to bar number plus max bars back minus 1. So we grab that information when it's first applied to the chart, and then we set the numeric up down maximum to that value, and I've set the minimum to 1. And I'm not sure, most of the other things that I've changed have just been in terms of colors and sizes and positions, but this program is going to be available if you are interested. And then we need to see the form, so I've added this form1.show. And then the other thing that we need to do is create the trend line, and this is just the standard sort of syntax for doing that. And what we've just done is created a trend line between the initial bar and a bar 3 ago, and we've set it at the value of the low of the initial bar. Right, so that is how we set up the basic things. Oh, incidentally, one thing I didn't show you, I'll just go back and recreate the form one more time. So add form, I'm going to copy the numeric up down onto the form, and then done that, if we go across here, we'll see this events, like a little lightning strike. And what we can do, if we need a particular event or a specific event, then we can find the area, click on it, and then double click, and that will create the value changed. If we go back to the program, you'll see that there's another value changed method, and that is what we've done in to get this is what we did to get this. So we don't need that, we don't need the extra form. I'm just going to go back and delete those again. So right click, remove form, say OK, and then go back into the program, and because the form is deleted, we need to delete this as well. So I'm just going to verify that, make sure we're good. Okay, so there we are. Now what happens when the value changes? Well, let's just go into that event, and you'll see that actually it's quite simple. We just take the sender value, which is the numeric up down that we're using, and then provided that the value -3 is greater than 0, because we can't draw lines to the left of the first bar on the chart, we then simply just change the start point and the end point of the trend line. And the only slightly, well, first of all, we need the bar, and that is just equal to the numeric up down dot value property. And because we're drawing it to the left, we've also done -3 for the end point. But then the only slightly complicated is we want to have the low value for the bar that we're on, and that is calculated by the numeric up down dot maximum. Remember, that is updated whenever we get a new bar, and that subtracts the numeric up down value, and that is how we get that low value. And I think that is everything. If there's anything that I've missed or not made clear, then please let me know, and I'll try and explain it better. Hopefully this might be useful to you. If you are interested, then it's going to be available free for Gold Pass members and for a small fee for others. So thank you very much for your attention.